Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to the day of the crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about Hedera and Hbar, and I have quite a bit of things to talk about, so sit back, relax, and before we fully jump on into this video, I just want to ask if you guys could please leave a like on this video. It does help the channel grow immensely. You guys have no idea how much it actually does help. It takes about like 2 seconds, so if you guys could please do so, I will greatly appreciate it. But with that being said, let's just jump in to this video. So we are seeing, like I said, the market kind of have a little bit of a roller coaster, sort of effect. It's expected. I mean, today is Friday, so we'll most likely have a little bit of blood throughout the markets, followed by a little bit of a recovery over the weekend, and then of course on Monday we'll most likely bleed out a little bit more. I suspect that Bitcoin could go a little bit lower. I've always said 40.8K to about roughly a retest of 42K is possible. So that's what I'm waiting for overall. In my mind, I think that it is going to probably happen. But of course, I will. I'm expecting anything really. In terms of Bitcoin, if it goes back up to like about 53.5K to 56K before those levels are met, I will totally be fine with that as well. So I'm just watching those levels closely. Now, I am looking at Hbar today very closely, as we did see some, transactions skyrocketing on Dragonglass. We're going to be discussing that. We are seeing the trading volume up about 67.2%. We also see the prices up about almost 12% as well. So, some significant overall, some price movement and stuff like that. But we are going to be talking a little bit about some, some crazy transactional volume. So first off, I seen this tweet here, which was saying, just watched a 30-second span where the Hedera testnet did 695 transactions per second, followed by 1,005, then followed by 1,140 transactions per second. Am I reading this right? That more than half of the transactions on the testnet have happened in the last 24 hours. And we actually do see here, see for yourselves, it's even spiked a little bit more now, 1,400 transactions per second, and then all of a sudden 2,400 transactions per second. Now check this out. This is actually pretty crazy. So here is the mainnet. As you guys do see, the mainnet has 1.9 billion transactions. We see, the accounts. We see the transactional volume on the 1 day is up about like 4.86, and of course the account creations up 20.25%, and followed by transactional volume on the 1 day, up about 460%, which is nothing crazy, right? Then you go over to the public testnet. Now this is where things are actually pretty interesting. So first up, we transactional volume here, 47.6K percent, 47.7 million transactions, and you do see the total transactions up there on the public testnet hitting about 74.8 million. So that means that nearly half, it's actually more than half of the transactions incurred in just the 1 day span. This is absolutely ridiculous. And we do see the account creation up 1.1K percent. 66,538 accounts were created on the 1 day span. Transactional value, we are seeing that up about 366.47%, sitting at about 4.2 million Hbar. So this is actually pretty interesting. I'd love to know where a lot of these, transactions are coming. Of course, we do see the top tokens in the last 24 hours, coming from this liquidity pool share, which is fairly interesting. And is this just a spam of transactions, or what is happening here? Because this is actually pretty interesting to say the least. Now, like I said, we don't really know exactly where these, where this volume is coming from. A lot of people will pretty much, make their assumptions here. But we do see, yes, they did 1.5 times the total transactions the Cardano network has done in 4 years in under 10 hours. Probably nothing, as they say. Someone must be spending tens of dollars to be putting the testnet under this much stress. We also seen, yes, so this is actually what I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about. We're going to be talking about that. And we do see a ton of skyrocketing transactions. It's absolutely ridiculous. But let's actually get into, something that could possibly be allowing for this to happen. So we just seen this announced today. HSBC and IBM successfully design and test interoperable multi-ledger central bank digital currency securities and foreign exchange settlement capability. Now, like I said, there's no correlation here with Hedera besides, of course, IBM. Now, of course, this is direct ledger interoperability achieved in a hybrid cloud environment across multiple technologies. Again, this is all kind of going in depth on everything: cross-border, cross-CBDC, and digital currency, cross-asset, cross-ledger, end-to-end securities and foreign exchange transactions successfully executed. Is this what's, boasting the entire network to have this massive amount of transactions? It is possible. I'm not going to say it's 100% certain, but when we're talking about all of this, there's a ton of things that go in hand with this. The experiment successfully tested an end-to-end transactional lifecycle covering CBDCs, minting and allocation, e-bonds, delivery versus payment, DVP, across primary issuance and secondary trading and coupon payments, and foreign exchange pricing and payment versus payment, PVP, settlement. It was conducted in a hybrid cloud environment incorporating public and private clouds and on-premise data sources. Distributed ledger based on IBM's Hyperledger Fabric and R3's Corda were integrated using IBM Research's Weaver interoperability tool. So this is actually pretty interesting. Of course, there's talks about DOTs here, but there's really no mention of Hedera. But this actually could be, the start of something interesting, especially if Hedera is announced as being a direct, connection with this. So this is pretty interesting. And of course, this is all for, we actually see interoperability across different DOTs and technologies was key in demonstrating how to save time, reduce market risk, and improve security for transactions between central banks, commercial banks, and in time, our clients around the world as well, which I've always talked about how interoperability is going to be a key for a lot of the CBDC adoption and stuff like that in the future. Now, we do see from HSBC the About page here. I've actually talked to you guys a little bit about this with Q&T, but we do see HSBC is one of the world's largest banking and financial services organizations. They serve more than 40 million customers through their global businesses, and there's a ton of businesses within this, wealth and personal banking, commercial banking, global banking and markets. Our network covers 64 countries and territories in Europe, Asia, and Middle East and Africa, North America, and Latin America. We also see that they are held around 194,000 shareholders and in 130 countries and territories. So this is fairly massive. If HSBC is working with IBM, I suspect that they could possibly be working with Hedera. If this is the case, I'm just saying it right now, okay, this transactional amount that's flowing over the network currently, just imagine this at a massive scale. This is just the beginning. In my mind, let's actually just refresh this. So 47.7 million. So let's just refresh it real quick and let's see this actually update. So yeah, it's still there. I don't know. Could this be a glitch? Could this just be some sort of, stress test? Could this be somebody trying to DDoS the network, try to make it go down, similar to what we've seen with even, Solana? I just don't know. Okay, I can't give you guys a 100% guarantee that this is, this is being built within Hedera and they're testing it on Hedera. But in my mind, these transactions are coming from somewhere, and people are spending a ton of money to do this massive, sort of DDoS attack or stress test, whatever the case may be. Now, we do see here Google has been willing to take crypto money for Google Cloud. It also has agreements with Hedera and EOS in general, and others. Given Web3's escalating computing demands, Google will certainly look to ink more of these. So understand how big Web3 is going to be. Of course, Google understands how big it's going to be. In my mind, I think that Web3 services and Web3 in general is going to be so much bigger than what a lot of people actually suspect. I think the centralization is really going to take the world by storm. I think it's going to provide a ton of scalability options for a lot of these companies, and it's going to provide a ton of transactions to really kind of prosper on a lot of these networks. Like the transactions that we're seeing right now, don't get me wrong, this is absolutely ridiculous. 47 million transactions. That's fairly large, okay? But just imagine this at a rapid scale where we're doing, 470 million transactions a day, or, just 4 billion transactions. That's going to be crazy, to say the least, and I do suspect that we will get there. But we also see here Adidas Originals to launch NFT collection into the metaverse on December 17th, which is today. So first off, when we're talking about this, we have seen quite a bit of things with connections to Adidas, but we actually see down here it has been revealed that the digital asset will serve as an access token, promising holders exclusive access to future merchandise, physical and digital product and services rewards within the newly attained land plot in the sandbox game. But in terms of a lot of these major companies moving into NFT adoption, the metaverse, if you will, I suspect that this will absolutely skyrocket Web3's overall value. I think that when we're talking about Web 3.0 in terms of a $140 trillion market, I think that we will see that actually, skyrocket by like 2 to 3x, at least. So, whatever the value of Web3 becomes, I suspect that a lot of these crypto assets like Hbar will grasp a large percentage of that market value, and I'm very excited, to say the least, for the future of that. So yeah, we also see, this is the interesting thing. So this is what I was talking about with us all being extremely early. Coinbase president, close to 12% of Americans use crypto. Crypto to hit 1 billion users within 5 years. 200 million worldwide people use crypto. 200 million users equals internet users in 1998. Do you guys realize how early we actually are right now? I mean, in terms of what crypto is becoming, with us only being at 12% of Americans using crypto and only 200 million worldwide people using it, this is where I truly see how early we are. Okay, just compare that to where we will be in another 5 years, 10 years. I mean, look at 2024, okay? By the next bull run, we'll be in the age of almost 2000 for, the internet adoption. So we have a long way to go. We have a ton of ground to make up. And in my opinion, crypto is going to absolutely explode in terms of price and adoption. I'm very, very excited for this. Also, just so you guys know, check this out. So we actually seen Dovu. As you guys know, I've talked to you guys about Dovu in the past, being, an Hedera overall GC member. Huge day here at Dovu HQ as our NFT carbon marketplace is now live. We're transforming carbon sequestered in soil into carbon offsets as dynamic NFTs. So I've talked to you guys about Dovu a little bit in the past. Dovu, in my opinion, is actually going to be a pretty big name. I think that they are very early in terms of what they're actually focused on as well. And I'm very excited for a lot of these use cases to really kind of unfold into, in my mind, a very nice, sort of asset, or not asset, but pretty much just marketplace in general. But of course, Dovu is also an asset. You could pretty much invest into Dovu as well. So I think that that's fairly interesting, to say the least. Now, we also look at what Jordan Frieda is saying here. The Hedera Council is the world's first enterprise DAO governed by Google, IBM, and all these other major names. I don't really need to mention all of them, as you guys already know. But this truly is, it's crazy, to say the least, at how big Hedera has become in such a small amount of time. I mean, literally less than almost, 3 years now? It's crazy. Like, they just hit, the 2-year mark. And that's why I even said this, right? I said, how could you bet against Hbar? Just look at what they are accomplishing, building, developing, and planning in such a small amount of time, too. Like, it's unfathomable how fast they have grown in such a short amount of time. Hbar will become one of the biggest names in crypto, and they already are becoming just that. I suspect that once we do see a lot of the transactional volume that I suspect will happen very soon come to Hbar, I think that that's where the real game sort of changes, and I think that that's where a lot of people realize how big Hedera as an entire, company, but also Hbar as a crypto asset, and Hashgraph technology, as being a leading third-generation crypto technology, truly is going to become, and is. So I'm very excited for this. I'm very excited, to say the least, to see where this transactional flow is coming from, as we do see the number continuing to climb here. I think that this is very interesting. I think that when we're talking about, this token here, we're seeing a lot of transactional flow on here, but, it's not too much. Like, there's only 3 transactions here on the 1-day span. On the 1 hour, there's really, I mean, you can pretty much see this for yourself. So where is a lot of these transactions coming from? Because in my mind, there's not that much flowing over this one. And this is like one of the main ones in terms of total supply. So this is a top token in the last 24 hours. I'm really interested on where all of this transactional flow is coming from. So with all of that in mind, I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.